Hello, everyone. I was having some trouble with my mic this morning, so hopefully you guys can all see me. If not, let me know in chat. Seems like it's working. Hi, Jude. Hi, Ingrid. I'm going to mute my phone real quick because apparently I forgot to do that. Apologies. Give me one moment. All right, there we go. So today is, what is today? January 30th, 2024. I'm Michelle Hinojosa. I'm staff member with Future Fiction Academy. And today we're going to be continuing the story we've been working on. It's a young adult suspense. Hi, Death by Diva. Welcome. It's a young adult suspense that we had started up about a young boy who gets trapped in a magic shop overnight and is trying to find a way out. And in doing so, learns about a curse on the objects there. So he's now trying to assist them with actually breaking the curse before he leaves because the objects have become his friends. So that's kind of where we're at in the story right now. Last time we had left off, we had just done chapter 6, I believe. I'm just checking real quick, or scene 6 rather. Yes, we did, and I don't believe we looked at those results. Oh yeah, we did, because this is the treasure box. It took me like 15 minutes to get the AI to cooperate with the treasure box. I wanted a treasure box, and it was giving me tapestries. It was giving me Lord knows what else. It was probably a Loch Ness monster in there somewhere that I missed. But either way, we got it to work. We kind of just narrowed down its focus and really got it going. Hello, cool gamer. And so that's where we're going to start from now. I went ahead and did a brief scene brief for this. So let me pull up the chapter 7 scene brief, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, here we go. So you guys should be seeing my screen, and I'm going to hide it so you just see my screen. And hopefully that's big enough for everyone. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger just in case anyone needs to be able to read it. So I just briefly started a scene brief. I'm good. So I just started this scene brief. And I have no idea why I put 2 location details in here. I must have been like asleep when I was doing this. All right. So location details. I actually changed the details now because the characters are now in this round chamber, and they've just found the magic key in the puzzle box to this gate that they're trying to get through. So let's see. So for the location, I actually changed it. I just put inside the basement of the magic shop, an eerie glowing hallway that seems to lead into a dark void. I don't know why I worded like that. We'll keep it like that. It likes short sentences. Maybe I won't confuse it today. As the characters move through the hallway, small lights begin to flicker on, showing the tunnel is vast, but there's a small green glow coming from the distance in front of them. That is horribly worded, but the AI should understand it. Actually, I'm going to change the wording. So, began to flicker on, period. And then we're just going to put a small green glow shines in the distance. And we're just going to keep it like that because I like that wording a lot better. There we go. Okay, at the end of the hallway, the group stands before a swirling blue and green portal that leads to an unknown destination. I'm probably going to get dinged on this, and the AI is probably going to make up something, but I put down here where it goes to, so I'm just going to put to a eerie abandoned castle basement, because I don't want to confuse it. I don't want to give it the option to make it up here, but then tell it I don't want it to make it up later, because that just might confuse it further. So we're just going to put in that detail now. Okay, and then inside the portal, friends find themselves transported into what looks like a castle dungeon. We don't need that because we already did that. The dungeon is dimly lit, and the mist try to find their way through the dark. So that gives it kind of just like the basics of this is where we want it. I'm going to give it some leeway to make up what it wants in the dungeon. It knows it's young adult, so hopefully it doesn't put anything too drastic. If it does, we're going to have to go and edit it out because we really don't want a bunch of kids freaking out because the dungeon is a little too well explained. All right, so main characters are going to be the same because we haven't actually got to the antagonist yet. So we're going to have Max Turner, Madame Esquia, Jackson. Why do you have a bubble and no one else does? You're not special. Okay, Ivy, character dynamic. We'll keep this just because I want it to remember that the dialogue needs to be unique to their Myers-Briggs information. This usually will make sure that each character does not sound like a carbon copy of the other. We want them to have their own personality. We want their life experience to kind of cater the way they talk, the way they act. So that's why I keep this in even when I'm doing like the 12th scene brief of a thing. Because I just don't want the AI to forget. We have to usually not constantly, we have to often remind the AI what we want. Otherwise, it just kind of goes off kilter and we end up with, I don't know, flying tapestries eating people in a story that has no tapestries on the walls. So for the plot points, scene objective is Max and the group slowly make their way down the dark hallway into the portal to another realm. They come out into a dungeon and must try to find a way out before the haunted toys that are trapped there can get them. So I added this in because I want a little bit of drama. So far they've had a pretty easy go of it. So I want these haunted toys. We're gonna actually before the broken haunted toys. We'll put broken toys. So it's like a bunch of toys are like half broken, like haunted, like maybe even the ghosts of the toys are coming to get them, trying to stop them. So the conflict is they must find the way out of the dungeon into another part of the castle. The key events I kind of covered in the scene objective. So tone and style has not changed. We're going to change frantic to eerie, even though it's kind of... if I could type today, come on, fingers, wake up. There we go. Length of the scene, we're going to keep it 1,500 words. We're not getting anywhere near that. But if I bump it down any... excuse me. Give me a second. But if I bump it down any lower, I'm worried we're going to get even less than the 800 something words we're getting now. So I told it, please make sure to continue writing chapter 7 from the gate, being unlocked with the magic key. And then scene 6 includes the group goes down the scary hallway to a portal at the end. They enter the portal and move in a scary castle dungeon. And then we need to take this out because it already knows about the toy's cursed existence. Okay, and then continue from where scene 6 left off. There we go. If any of you have any questions, anything like that, feel free to put it in the chat. I am watching the chat. If I don't notice it right away, I promise I will notice it. You have my word. Okay, and so now we have this. And I'm going to come in here. And I already actually copied in my Notion slot. So I'm just going to refresh this because I did make some changes. And then we're going to wait until it's done. Just lagging a little bit today. There we go. Alrighty. So now let's make sure we're going to do... Yeah, we'll do 16K. Yeah, we'll try 16K. My next one that I do, I'm actually going to be using Claude through AWS. But for this one, since I already started in 16K, I'm going to keep with that. And then actually, that'll be kind of fun. At the end of the next one, we can kind of do a comparison to compare the pros of the 16K versus what we got with the Claude. Just so you guys can see the difference, like once the second story that we're doing is done. Okay, so then Word Banger. I put in here, you're an advanced AI. This is just what I wanted to know. You're an advanced AI trained as an expert junior writer with a focus on transforming story briefs into compelling prose. Your primary function is to assist in the creative writing process by expanding brief story outlines into detailed, engaging narratives. You possess a deep understanding of young adult horror/suspense, narrative structures, character development, and descriptive dialogue. So hopefully this prompts it enough to where it gives us what we want. So then right here, please read. And I'm going to have it read the characters because I always just... Actually, we don't even need to do that because those are already in there. I just want it to read... Let's see. We want it to read the dialogue style because we want it to know how we want the characters to sound. We're going to have it read N7, which is the tone and theme. And then we're going to have it read the scene brief. Let's see. I should have moved it up to the top, but I didn't. Scene 4. I need to see which number my scene brief was because I did not label it correctly. So I'm going to come in here. Because it's easier for me to identify when I have these here, I'm going to put scene 7 brief. And then I'm going to do the same at the bottom with the closeout, with the closing tag. And that way, you'll actually see the difference when I go back into Notion, I refresh. All the way up to the top. I'm going to refresh this and we're going to wait a second again. And I'm going to show you the difference now adding those tags. You'll actually see it populate to the left once it's done. Okay, so now when I scroll down here, I should have moved it closer to the top. But oh well. It is what it is. Okay, so now when I go in here, I'm going to see right here. Now at the top, it tells me exactly what the scene brief was. It gave me a bunch of ones, but that doesn't matter. So now it's easier to identify. So then I'm going to say N29. And I'm actually going to, I'm going to try this. We're going to feed it. Sometimes this works, sometimes it does not. I'm going to actually feed it in scene 6 and just be like, this is what the story so far. And that would be the one right above it. So I'm actually going to add the tag here too, so it's easier for me. Sometimes feeding it in the thing works, sometimes it's finicky. It kind of depends on the day. It depends on where the sun is in the sky. It depends on a bunch of stuff because it's still, there's still some unknowns to how it's actually reading things, and sometimes how it reads things changes as well. So one more time, we're going to refresh. There we go, refresh. And now we're going to wait. And it shouldn't take too long because we just only changed that one thing, but we'll see. I hope everyone's doing okay today. It's early. Is it Monday? No. Today's Tuesday. I am a day off. It's been a very long week already. I hope you guys all have been having a wonderful week. Okay, so what am I doing? Scene 6. Okay, and then we're going to come into here and we're going to do N28. And the story so far. I'm going to put actually the previous chapter. Scene. Previous scene. I don't want to confuse it. You have to be careful with your wording because sometimes, depending on the LLM you're using, the model, it won't differentiate well between chapter and scene. I find that if I just use scene consistently, I normally get better results than using chapter because sometimes I'll go called it chapter, then I'll call it a scene later, and it kind of confuses the AI. Okay, then use N29 to write to begin. Rewrite scene 7. Good morning, Harper. Good to see you. Harper just joined us as well. So I have please read N6, N7 in the previous scene, then use N29 to write scene 7. So for those that just have jumped in, N6 is actually right up here. It's my dialogue style. Then I'm having to read my tones and themes. Then I'm having to jump down over here to read my previous scene, which is N28. And then N29 is the one. Ingrid says, hey, yes, all good. Michelle, when you said you would use a different model, was that for the next chapter or the next project? I'm actually thinking, Ingrid, since I've already done 7 scenes of this with the GPT-16K, I'm going to stick with that for this one. Actually, maybe I won't. What do you guys think? Actually, chime in. Would you guys prefer to see me do this scene in Claude so we could do a comparison between the previous scene, or would you rather me do this entire story in 16K and then do the next story in Claude so we make a comparison of story by story instead of one scene versus another? What are your guys' opinions? Go ahead and chime in chat while I'm setting this up. Or I could do it both ways. I could very easily run it in Claude and then let's do that. Let's run it in Claude and then run in 16K. We'll run this in both ways and then we'll go and do a comparison. How does that sound? Let's go back up to the top. Try one chapter 4. All right. We'll do that. Okay. Perfect. So we're going to run first the GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K. We're going to keep the temperature at 1, top P at 1, and we're going to run it this way. And then we're going to immediately run it in my AWS Claude, and we're going to pull them both up on the, excuse me. We're going to pull them both up on the screen side by side, and we'll do a side-by-side comparison and see what we get. That'll be fun. Okay, and we're going to just use the exact same information. We're going to change absolutely nothing when we do both because I want it to be no variables. Yeah, Ingrid said there's no sex in the story, so Claude would be happy. Yes, I do not put sex in my young adult stories. So yes, you are correct, Ingrid. Okay, here we go. So let's bang this one. Okay. And so let's see. The heavy stone gate swung open on a creaking hinge. I like that. So it actually did pick up where I left off, which is nice. If you guys weren't here last Wednesday, or I don't remember if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I spent like half of this trying to get the AI to just give me a scene of them finding a puzzle box, solving it, and getting a key out from it. It decided it wanted to give me everything in the world except for the puzzle box. So by the time it gave it to me, we were almost done here, but I was very happy because I finally got it to work. And that's just the way it works sometimes, you guys. You just have to stick with it. And sometimes just running the same exact thing a second time actually works because it is randomized. It's basically a random word generator. So sometimes even if the results are weird on one, it might actually be exactly what you want on the other without making any changes. Okay, so this is still going. This is actually giving us a pretty good amount. I say that now, but it's a really long narrow. I think it's probably only going to be like 300 words. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so we have this one. I'm just going to go in here. I know it saves. I just like to always go in here and make sure it's saved. We're actually going to change this, and we're going to do Magic Shop Scene 7. And this was ChatGPT 3.5 16K. Okay. And now we're actually going to go back in, and we're going to just clear out this box. And then we're going to run it with my AWS. So we're going to come into here, and my AWS, and my... go down. It's 2. 2? Yes, it's 2. I'm like 99.99% sure it's 2 because I know it's not 1, so it has to be 2. Okay, so we're going to update this. And it looks like it updated. Yep, it did. Okay, so now it's the exact same thing we already did. The only reason this looks different is because once you run it, it automatically fills in the information for you. So you can see my dialogue style is filled in, tone is filled in. All of that is already filled in. Instead of just using the ends, it goes ahead and it populates it. So now let's go ahead and do this with Claude. And we're going to let that run with Claude. You're running? There we go. Oh, that's interesting. It actually even gave me the tag, Scene 7. That's cool. Okay, I'm already liking this one better. With trembling hands, Max inserted the ornate skeleton key into the glowing gate. He held his breath as he turned it, and the heavy lock clicked open. That already, just that first sentence, I like a lot better. But we'll let it continue running, and then we'll do our comparison. And then, let's see. While we're doing that, let's go in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab this. I'm going to do a side-by-side. So I want this one. Come on, let me, really? Let's move this over here. Nope, side-by-side. There we go. Okay. And we'll just leave this open for right now. Once it's done, I'll pull the other one side by side and we'll take a look together. Okay, should be almost done. Pushing the gate open. Yep, there we go. Okay. So now I want to go back over here and we're going to drag this one over here. And this one was Scene 7. Excuse me. Claude. AWS Claude 2. Okay. So I like that it gave me this tag already. It like saw that I'm tagging it, did it automatically. I didn't have to ask for it, so that's nice. So let's see. Okay. No, don't do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so ChatGPT 3.5 16K. I'm going to do one paragraph and then the next one, and then we'll do it that way. So the first paragraph of ChatGPT 3.5 16K is the heavy stone gate swung open on creaking hinges, revealing a dimly lit hallway that stretched out before them. Max hesitated for a moment, his heart pounding in his chest, before taking a deep breath and stepping through the threshold. As he did, a soft glow emanated from the magical key in his hand, casting a faint light on the path ahead. The glowing light is interesting. But over here, this is Claude. We have, with trembling hands, Max inserted the ornate skeleton key into the glowing gate. He held his breath as he turned it, and the heavy lock clicked open. Pushing the gate open, Max peered into the darkness beyond. The air was thick and heavy, seeming to cling to them as they hesitantly stepped through the doorway. I like that paragraph for Claude a lot better. So the next is, the hallway was narrow, its walls lined with ancient tapestries that seemed to come to life in the flickering light. Max could feel the weight of the past pressing down on him, as if the stories of those who come before whispered through the very air he breathed. I like that. That's actually pretty interesting. He could sense the presence of something powerful, something that had been dormant for centuries awaiting their arrival. The second paragraph over here is Madame Mosquito conjured a small orb of light. Over here is Claude, by the way. They floated just above her open palm, casting a pale glow over the group. Jackson and Ivy huddled close while the other toys fanned out behind Max, ready to face whatever lay ahead. So there's not actually any other toys here yet. So that would not be in there. Okay. So I'm actually thinking there's some pretty good stuff on both sides. I'm actually thinking we'll probably take what we have in Claude and just add in some details from ChatGPT. But what do you guys think? Because I'm liking the way Claude gave it so far. And then for the actual hallway, the hallway was narrow. Its walls lined with ancient tapestries. There's those tapestries again. ChatGPT just seems to love tapestries. They must have like some stock in some tapestry companies. They seem to come to life in the flickering light. Max could feel the weight of the past pressing down. Yep, kit bashing, Ingrid, exactly. As if the stories of those who had come before whispered through the very air he breathed. He could sense the presence of something powerful, something that had been dormant for centuries awaiting their arrival. Okay, and over here, the light revealed a long, narrow passageway carved into the ancient stones. Strange symbols and runes marked the walls, their meanings lost to time. The passage sloped gently downward, leading the group deeper into the earth. So there's some good things with both. So I agree with Ingrid. We should the kit bash should be good. So then let's go ahead and I'm going to move both of these over to this tab here. And we're going to jump back into my Notion over here. Give me a second. I'm just kind of organizing so I have everything where I want it. And then we're going to come into here. And we're going to just create a page for scene 7 in Notion. I keep doing squiggly brackets instead of the other ones. Jennifer said, you said do no tapestries, so do nothing but tapestries. And that's the thing. I said do no tapestries verbally. I don't think I actually wrote it. So it's actually listening to me now, according to, like, if that's the case, which is actually pretty creepy, but it wouldn't surprise me. I know my phone is spying on me all the time. I'll be talking to my sister and I'll mention something about like an orange puppy, and then in 5 minutes I'll have like 5 ads for orange puppies that pop up on my phone. Okay. So this is going to be our scene 7. So let's see. For this, I like Claude's version of the first part more, but I like the fact the key, I'm going to copy and paste in here. I like the fact the key was the thing that was glowing in the 3.5. So I'm actually going to do this. We're going to say, as they entered the darkness, the key, Max still had the key. Hold on. Max gripped the key tightly in a fist and yelped, no, and gasped in surprise as it began to glow. And it began to glow and lit their path. I'm going to be kind of cliche there. Okay, so Max gripped the key tightly in his fist, and gasped in surprise as it began to glow and lit their path. He held the key overhead and squinted to try to focus his eyes despite the darkness. Although holding that glowing key above his head is not going to help his eyes adjust, but he's a kid. What does he know? Okay, so then let's see. Let's compare the hallway. So the hallway was narrow. This is ChatGPT. The hallway was narrow. Its walls lined with ancient tapestries. Nope. Let's see. Okay, so the light revealed a long, narrow passageway carved into the ancient stone. I like this. Strange symbols and runes marked the walls, their meanings lost to time. The passage sloped gently downward, leading their group deeper into the earth. I like that. So we're going to grab that one and put it over here. And then let's see what else we can add to this. The air thickened. Will you please stop that? And felt heavy. The further downward they moved, they walked. They traveled. It was becoming difficult to breathe, and after only, we'll say, 200 feet 200 feet. Max paused and leaned against the wall to catch his breath. Okay, so we're going to add that. And then let's look at see what ChatGPT has over here. Let's see. The hallway was narrow. You could feel the weight of the past pressing down on him. No. Madame Esquia led the way. Her steps cautious but determined. They're always determined. They always have these little determined eyes. I find that amusing. Nothing there really to use yet. Okay, so we'll have Max ask them, do you guys feel that? Max whispered between heavy swallows of air. And we'll say ancient magic. Why is she speaking like Yoda? Okay, so Madame Esquia nodded gravely. It feels like ancient magic. It feels like ancient magic, but it doesn't affect us the way... No, we're just going to say it feels like ancient magic. I don't want it to get too much information right there yet. Okay, so let's see. Suddenly, Max froze. There was something up ahead. A low rumbling sound echoed through the passage. The orb flickered and then went out. We're not going to do that. Although, I might have like the key flicker out because that might be interesting. But let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this. ChatGPT basically has nothing to say about this. So we're going to say, we're just actually going to take this right here. I'm going to put it here. Suddenly, Max froze. There was something ahead. A low rumbling sound echoed through the passage. The glow from the key flickered and went out for a moment before reigniting and then dying again. Make it a little dramatic. Kind of flicker off and then on, just to kind of throw them off. Max shook the key in an attempt to turn it back on the way he would, yeah, we'll just skip it. Shook it in an attempt to turn it back on the way he would his old flashlight at home. Okay. The ground began to shake, and Max's eyes went wide. No, we're not going to do that. The ground began to shake, and Max pressed against the wall to keep upright. And then he yells, "Run." Okay. Why did you not give me a space? It either gives me like a good space or too much of a carriage when I do that sometimes. Okay. So they fled down the passageway. Yeah, Claude is actually doing a lot better because I wanted like something happening in the hallway that was a little more dramatic instead of just like, oh, here's a key, here's a door. So, oh my God, it's like Indiana Jones. They fled down the passageway. They're going to crush this poor little kid, stumbling over loose rocks and debris. The rumbling turned into a roar, and Max risked a glance over his shoulder. His blood turned to ice. A massive boulder was barreling towards them, picking up speed. Ooh, I know. We're going to change that. It's not going to be a massive boulder. It's going to be like a giant, like what, a gigantic beach ball, but it's going to be like a solid beach ball. Like it's actually... I mean, it's like a boulder painted like a beach ball, I think, just because that kind of brings more of a toy element, and that kind of amuses the heck out of me. So we're going to say, they fled down the passageway, darting around loose rock and debris. None of them. A glance back over their shoulder. Okay. The rumbling turned into a roar. I just spelled debris wrong, didn't I? Turned into a roar. Loud enough to cause Max's ears to throb. All right. Hearing, all right, no. The floor began to vibrate as the object barreled towards them, faster towards them. Ah, I can't spell today. Barreled faster towards them. Max gained the courage. No, we're just going to put Max glanced as they neared a fork in the path. Max dared to glance over his shoulder and nearly tripped when he saw a boulder-sized beach ball rolling towards them. No, not rolling. A boulder-sized beach ball. Yeah, let's put rolling towards them, crashing towards them. And I'm saying this beach ball has weight. It's not like bouncing around happy, happy, happy. This thing's going to crush them. Okay. And then I don't want Ivy chanting the incantation. I want them to just like barely duck and then this thing fly by. So we're going to put here, Max darted into the side passage, grabbing the toys. I'll put his friends. And yanking them into it with him. Okay, so he yanks them in there. He barely had time to catch his breath. No, to take a breath before the heavy beach ball flew past the passage down the darkly lit hallway. The passage past them. Okay, so they darted to the side. This thing keeps rolling, so they're safe from that at least. Okay, Panty Max turned to Ivy. Nope. Let's see. Oh, fun. And now a shriek. I like this. What the heck is going on here? Okay, so the floor is caving from under them. Then a figure appears before them. You should not have come here, foolish little ones. Now you shall never leave. So that part's not going to happen because I don't want him to make an appearance yet. That seems like it's our antagonist, but they don't fight him yet. Okay, so we have this. The group. Actually, not the group. We'll say Jackson peered out the hallway once it felt safe and spoke with relief. It's gone. I don't see it in the hallway. Okay, so there we go. And then now we're just going to have, we're actually going to have the floor crumble. And then they're actually going, I'm actually thinking they're going to fall through it, but they're going to land in another passage where the portal is. And then we'll go ahead and we'll generate the next chapter. I actually think that's a good way to kind of end this part of the chapter, because we'll have the chapter end as they're falling, then the next chapter start as they finally hit the ground. So I think that would work. What do you guys think? Any opinions on that? While I type this out. So Max moved alongside Jackson. And nodded. Thank goodness. I thought we were goners. We were going to be crushed. Beach ball. I thought we were by a giant beach ball. Despite himself, he began to laugh at the image, at the mental image. Jackson gave him a questioning look and then began to laugh as well. Laugh at the ridiculousness of the thought as well. Okay. As the rest of the group joined them, an ear-splitting scream erupted. An ear-splitting scream assaulted their ears. And cut their laughter short. Max clamped his hands over his ears. And didn't have time to react. Didn't have time to react as the floor crumbled underfoot. Is that one word or two? I can't remember. Okay, there we go. Before they knew what was happening, the group found themselves falling through the floor and into the darkness below. Okay, so we're going to end this scene right here. I think that's a good ending because some of the scenes I kind of want to have a cliffhanger. So we have scene 7 there. So I'm actually going to close these two here that we just kind of put together, and we're going to go back into here, which is Rexy. Thank you, Harper. I appreciate it. Harper said, nice cliffhanger. I kind of like that image of them just falling. It almost reminds me of like, I don't remember there was a story I was reading, and where they're like falling. They're falling for like hours, and then eventually they hit the bottom. I kind of like that, just because it adds a little bit like of more suspense because you don't know what's going on. We obviously know he's a protagonist, so we're pretty sure he's not going to die since this is a young adult story. But I mean, who knows? Maybe we're just that mean. Either way, though, we're going to go back in here. And now that we have our scene 7 set up, we're going to go ahead and refresh our Notion slots, because that has been changed. Anytime you change your Notion slots, you have to refresh. So that way it takes up those changes. So we're going to do that. And usually that takes like a minute. So I'm going to take a drink of coffee while we wait. Alrighty. So we are ready there. So I like the way Claude did this. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to do the next one in Claude as well. If I had been smart, I would have highlighted this before it took over all the end slots, but unfortunately I wasn't. So we're going to go in here and we're just going to modify this. So we're going to say, please read. And we want the dialogue style, which is, I always forget what numbers I have things. N6. Oh, you know what I should do before I do this? I should do a scene brief. So N6. And then we want N7. I'm just going to get this written in there. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at our next scene brief, because it's doing really well with the scene briefs. And then we want the previous scene. And then the previous scene is going to be, what number is it? So N30. Thank goodness we have more Notion slots. I'm already like taking up space for N30. I don't have stuff above it filled out, but still, I like being able to have that. So we're going to delete this, because this is just everything that happened in the other one. And then we're going to use, and we're not going to put the scene brief number on this yet because we have to go and actually add it in. But we are going to change this to scene 8. Okay, so now that I have that there, I'm just going to copy it just in case something happens. And I'm just going to paste it outside of here real quick, so that way I just have it. I'm just pasting it into an Office or a LibreOffice document real quick, just so that way if something happens, I can just copy and paste it back in. So we're going to come into here, and I'm going to duplicate this scene brief. And then I'm going to move it down here. I'm going to change this to scene 8 brief. All right, and then setting description. Let's see, inside the hallway, green. So we're going to keep this still because I want them to fall into this new tunnel that has this glowing hallway. So we are going to keep that part in. That's going to be the same. Okay, the characters obviously are the same. So we're going to scroll down past that. Plot points. Okay, Max and the group are falling, or have fallen, no, fall through the floor and land into a tunnel further in the basement, further down in the basement. Okay, so Max and the group fall. They fall the floor. They fall the floor. They fall through the floor. How about that? Oh my goodness, I can't spell. Okay. And land in a tunnel further down into the basement. I'll fall through the floor to another tunnel. Let's simplify that. To another tunnel. No, to a tunnel below. There we go. I like that word better. So Max and the group fall through the floor to a tunnel below. The tunnel is pitch dark, pitch black, pitch black, and they can't. No, we'll just put pitch black. And eerie noises float in the air. Why not? Okay. So at a faint glow can be seen at the end of the tunnel. We're going to say after a long descent. I want it to be dramatic, so they fall for quite a while, just to fully freak them out. A faint glow is at the end of the tunnel, and the group has no choice but to follow it. The glow is emanating. I can't spell today. I did not spell that right. Emanating. Thank you. Emanating from a magic swirling portal to another realm. Boom. Okay. So we're still going to have this here. We're going to say they must enter the portal and find a way out. We'll just put that. So we're going to keep all of this narrative style the same. Personal notes. Please make sure to continue writing chapter 8 from the group falling through empty space. No, just falling through the floor. Okay, scene 6 should include, this should be scene 8 now. I didn't change that. Good thing that didn't mess me up last time. Okay, the group, after a long descent, after a long free fall, how about that? Free fall. So it doesn't think they're just like slowly climbing down. After a long free fall, the group hit the ground of a tunnel below. Somehow, actually, no, let's do this. We're going to say Ivy turns herself into a giant cushion and avoids and helps them avoid injury. Since she has a magic thing, she might as well make use of it so she can turn into clothing and garments and stuff. So it makes sense she turn into a giant cushion. We'll say a giant pillow to stop the group's fall. We'll put impact. There we go. So Ivy saves them like that. Okay, then it should include they discover the portal and decide to enter it, leading them into a dungeon. We'll put a castle dungeon. There we go. Okay, so then continue scene from where scene 7 left off. Start with them still falling in the darkness. Let me just say still falling. Okay, so we're going to keep it like that. We're going to change this to scene 8 brief. And we're going to change this up here to scene 8 brief. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to refresh our Notion slots again because we have new information in there. Let me scroll. My mouse does not want to play nice today. There we go. And while it does that, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Okay, so I'm liking how this is going so far. I would have never really thought of the floor collapsing on them and then just falling. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that for this, so I'm actually really glad it came up with that. Okay, so we have our previous scene in there, so now we need it. I'm assuming this is just going to be 31. Yes. And then use N31 to begin to write scene 8. And we're going to actually put in here, please write at least 2,000 words. We're not going to get it, but I'm going to put it. And actually, I'm curious how many... Oh, we actually kept bash, so that doesn't matter. I was curious how many words we got the last time. We kind of moved stuff around and added stuff, so that doesn't really count. So we're going to go ahead and do this in Anthropic Claude again. And you know what? I don't know why I didn't just move all this to Insta2. I wasn't thinking. Normally, I would keep that the way it was in case I need to rerun it and put the new stuff in Insta2. We're just going to do that from now on. That was just me overlooking it. They're claiming this is 2,215 words. I do not believe that in the slightest. Once this is done, I'm actually going to toss it into my word processor document, and we're going to see how many words it is, because that number so far for me has never been accurate, and I highly doubt it's written 2,215 words. If it has, I'm probably going to have a heart attack on the spot in shock, but we'll find out. I like this one. Max felt weightless as he tumbled through open air. The scream lodged in his throat. His arms flailed wildly, trying to grab anything to stop his fall. There was nothing but the dark void yawning below him. He clenched his eyes shut, bracing for impact. No, see, it ignored the pillow thing, so we're going to change this, but that's an easy enough change. Let's see. Yeah, Harper said the numbers are usually highly inflated. Yeah, they are. Last time it claimed it did 1,500 words for me, and it was like 700. I'm like, that's not even like... If it was like 100, 200 words off, okay, I give you that. But I mean, that's less than half of what you're claiming. And just a little injection in reality into those numbers would be good. But either way, we'll see. And I'm actually debating if I should actually have him crash onto his back and just not being injured, or if I should have Ivy save the day. Ivy really hasn't had much of a part in this. So I kind of like Ivy actually doing something. So I think I'm going to keep that. And if it doesn't read well afterwards, it can always be changed. But Ivy's just been kind of floating around and being a fashion accessory. So I think she needs to actually show she's like going to help and be worth something. So we are just waiting for that to generate. Let's see. So he rolled on himself with his groan. So he's not actually like injured, but it seems like it kind of winded him, which that makes sense. But I guess he can still be winded hitting the pillow, because even though they're landing on the pillow and they're avoiding like anything broken, that's still going to be a hard impact. So I will keep that part in, but I do want the pillow to appear. Or not appear, but for Ivy to make the pillow. It's actually writing quite a bit. Harper said I like using magic. Ivy used magic to help them. I do too. It fits in with the story, and it makes it a little more cutesy, kind of like it feels like more young adulty, more goosebumpsy for something like that than this kid just to fall through the floor and crash land onto the hard concrete below. That seems a little bit drastic. Okay, so I want to know how many words this actually is, because I am very curious. So I'm going to come into here, into my auto write. Why didn't you auto write? I don't know why it's not showing up, but we're going to come in here real quick. I'm going to refresh this. There we go. I had to refresh. So let's see how many words this actually is. Grab all of you. I don't know why I'm just not doing control A. Okay, let's see. Getting my Word document. Wait, no, there's no way. There is no way. Wait a minute. 1,943 words. There, really? No. Holy crap. It actually wrote 1,926 words. I am in shock. I am in absolute freaking shock right now. 1,926 words. I'm not making that up, and I'm not hallucinating. You guys can see it on the screen, right? That's incredible. I mean, I don't know if they're good words. I don't know if they're good words, if they're usable words, but it just generated me over 1,900 words. Oh, is there, Harper? I've never even tried that. I didn't realize there was a word counter in Notion. Thank you very much. That saves me some time. But oh my god, wow. That's actually the most amount of words I've ever gotten with running something like this before. I mean, if every single one of my chapters wants to do that, I am okay with that. Now, even if they're not all usable words, I mean, odds are I'm gonna get hopefully somewhere close to 1,000 because we have all this. I'm curious where that is. Let's see. Over here. Let's see. If you click on the direct Notion, there's also a word counter. I do not see the word count in here. I might be blind. And maybe it's under page analytics? No? I'm not sure. Where maybe after class you can show me, Harper. Or after the live you can show me, because I don't actually see it. But I am in absolute shock. We just got over 1,900 words. Oh my god. Oh, at the bottom? Okay. Oh, I see. Thank you very much, Harper. I thought there was something to click. So we actually have a word count in Notion right here, Harper just told us. I've never even noticed that before. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Saves me some time in the future. Okay, so I'm going to immediately come over here and toss this into my chapter, my scene 8. I am still in shock that we got that many freaking words. So it was still off, but it wasn't off by as much as I thought it would be. Wow. Okay, so we have only like 6 minutes left. So let's go through this and see how many of these words are usable. So Max felt weightless as he tumbled through the open air. The scream lodged in his throat, his arms flailed widely, trying to grab anything to stop his fall. There was nothing but the dark void yawning below him. He clenched his eyes shut, bracing for impact. Take a sip of coffee. Okay, so right here, seconds before. Oh, Death by Diva just gave us $3. Thank you very much, Death by Diva. Much appreciated. Seconds before the impact. Actually, no, his eyes are closed. So though, no, I'm trying to think of how to word it. I'll put suddenly Max hit the ground, but it was a lot softer than he expected. Okay, let's see. He lay for a moment wheezing. The surface, okay, wheezing, but was surprised to find no real pain. I missed the word. Oh, thank you. Max hit the ground. That would help. Thank you, Harper. I'm sure I would have caught that eventually, but that would have been hilarious. Okay, he lay still for a moment, wheezing, was finding no real pain to find. He was surprised he was not in pain. He was not in pain. The surface below him felt oddly soft and pliant. You do it all the time, Harper. I am always missing a word here and there, but thankfully, usually it catches it. He gripped and squeezed at it. Squeeze it tightly in his fist. And cracked his eyes and opened his eyes as he heard Ivy give a shout. Hey, not so rough. Okay, so he grabs and squeezes the thing, and Ivy's like, "Hey," because he's actually like squeezing her rather roughly, and she's not a fan of that. So, let's see, Max rolled onto his side with a groan, peering down at Ivy in her pillow form. We're gonna put in her pillow form. He grinned as he climbed off her and helped the others up. Ivy, that was amazing. He's Ivy, that was amazing. You saved us. He shouted excitedly. Okay. Ivy's form shifted back to a blue scarf, and she floated onto Max's shoulders. You're welcome. She says, you're welcome. I hope everyone's okay. Hope no one is hurt. Okay, so is everyone okay? Max said as he looked around. Actually, I'm going to say help them up. And I'm going to actually change this part right there. He's going to help them up here. So instead of helping him while he's doing that, he's actually going to help them as he helps. He's going to ask if they're okay as he helps each one up. I think so, Jackson muttered, brushing sand from his clothes. Nope. Checking himself for tears. I'll put injury. What is this place, Madison? Who the hell is Madison? Who is Madison? I don't know. What is this place? We're going to say Max whispered in awe. Because I have no idea who that Madison is and how she suddenly just appeared while they were falling. Madison is trying to steal the show. The cavern was massive. This was a tunnel. They could land in a cavern. Actually, I kind of like that. They fall into this giant tavern and then Cavern, not tavern. I mean, if there is a tavern there, that works, but this is a cavern. The ceiling soaring up into the darkness above. The ceiling was... Let's see. The cavern was massive, and the ceiling so far up that it seemed invisible. No, that it was swallowed by the darkness. Okay. Strange rock formations jutted up from the glistering sand from the... We're going to say strange rock formations jutted up from the cracked concrete. Like massive stone spheres. Okay, there we go. The source of the dim green light seemed to emanate from the rock itself. No, it didn't. Actually, yeah, we're going to leave that. I kind of like some of the rocks are glowing. And that kind of throws them off, too, because we're not going to immediately be able to, like, tunnel vision onto the passage or the portal at the end of the hallway because there's kind of glowing around. It's kind of like in the caves how you get, like, the... What is it? Like the moss or the... I forget what it is that glows. Like the... I don't know what it is. It's like the moss that glows in the caves. Something like that, but this is coming from the rock. I actually like that because it gives it kind of like a more eerie visual, in my opinion. So Max just got up to his feet for like the 4th time. So we're going to delete that. Where are we? He wondered aloud. The air in the cavern, was cool and dry, with a faintly stale taste. This place felt ancient and very far from the surface world. Well, yeah, obviously, you're in a cavern underground. Madame Mesquia is now standing, even leaning on her cane. When did Madame Mesquia get a cane? That's funny. She does not have a cane. She never at any point has had a cane, so we're going to take that out as well. We have fallen into the ancient catacombs from the monastery. No, she did not. First of all, this is not a monastery. Second of all, she has no way of knowing that. Let's see. So, Madame Mesquia shook her head. Still somehow under the magic shop, I imagine. But I assume. Still somewhere under the magic shop, I assume. Okay. Let's see. All right. Max nodded and walked across the cavern to the glowing rock. And tentatively. Bioluminescence. Thank you, Death by Diva. That is the word I was trying to think of. Okay, and unfortunately, we are at the top of the hour, so I'm going to have to leave you guys in suspense and not continue this yet. But I mean, we are getting a lot of usable words for that 1,900 whatever we had. I am actually very impressed and rather shocked, actually, because that's a lot of good words right there. I'm going to stop my screen or my screen share. So thank you all for joining. You guys were all witness to the most words I've ever been able to generate through a prompt. In any LLM, actually, I've never received that many words. I asked it for 2,000. We almost got 2,000, and it seems like a lot of them are actually usable words. So this is actually a really great day. So once again, thank you all for joining me today. My name is Michelle Hinojosa with the Future Fiction Academy. We'll be here. I believe we'll be doing another live next Tuesday. I'm not sure about tomorrow. Tomorrow's either going to be another live or I'm going to have a very secret surprise set up for you guys to view tomorrow. We'll see. I'm kind of on the fence about it, but I'm leaning towards secret surprise. But either way, either I'll be here or there will be something for you guys to watch tomorrow. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Again, I'm Michelle with the Future Fiction Academy. For those of you who aren't part of the Future Fiction Academy, there's a little banner down here with our website address for you to sign up. Come and join us. We do a lot of fun stuff like this and more. We have a lot of great classes. We have classes on fine tuning. We have beginner classes, intermediate classes. We're working on getting some more advanced classes set up. And we've just done a really interesting overhaul of a curriculum, which I'm very excited about. So please, everyone, come join us. And for those of you already in Future Fiction Academy, I'll see you later. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.